Episode 56, The Strain of Change.
This is the One Extraordinary Marriage Podcast, home of the 7 Days of Sex Challenge, featuring your hosts, the authors of the groundbreaking new book, Stripped Down, Tony and Elisa DiLorenzo.
Welcome back to One Extraordinary Marriage, where we talk about life, love, and the pursuit of intimacy. You're here with Elisa DiLorenzo.
And Tony DiLorenzo.
And tonight we're going to be talking about the strain of change and how changing churches, how that impacts your marriage and your intimacy. But we've had quite a lot going on this week. So we always start with what's been going on before we get into...
What's been happening in the DiLorenzo household.
Exactly. And do you want to start anywhere in particular? Or?
No.
I was going to give a shout out to you. You passed that level 3 certification test.
I did.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
This is
for USA Cycling, and so there are 3 levels: level 3, 2, and then 1 being the highest. And I passed the introductory one.
Yay!
Which is, it may not sound big to you guys, but I've been wanting to do this for probably 3 or 4 years now.
Probably.
And honestly, just never, I got the manual, I started reading it, and I just never did it. And finally, I decided, you know what? This is something I am passionate about. It's something I do regularly with the guys that I ride with, and I want to do it. So I took it, and the cool thing is that I have another buddy of mine here in San Diego who runs Cycling Camp San Diego. If you want to check him out, really great guy if you're a cyclist, cyclingcampsandiego.com. Rob Panzera is the owner and operator of that, and he runs camps here in San Diego and has asked me to attend a couple in February, and I'm excited. I will only be able to be there for 2 days for each week, but I get to be out there, and I'm going to be his Sherpa and his grunt. I'll be out there on the road just helping along, doing what I can do, and learning from Rob, because Rob is a fantastic dude. And you can see Rob's interview on the Fit Marriage Show. Mm-hmm. Episode 4, I think.
That I couldn't answer for you.
Yeah, I don't know. But Rob's a cool guy. So yeah, I'm excited about that. And we'll be doing...
and I do have to share, it was an open book test, but it was still... So he's sitting there doing this test, and he's got his manual. And, every once in a while I'd be like... he'd blurt out something, I don't know, FEV1, dealing with asthma. And for those of you that have asthma, that means a lot to you. For me, as he's sitting across the table from me, I'm like, I don't even know what you're talking about.
I didn't know what I was talking about.
And so, I'm doing research on my laptop, and he's trying to find the answers in his stuff. And it was not an easy test.
No.
Even the questions I got asked, and I hadn't read the manual. So
you're telling me.
Kudos to you for passing. I'm impressed that they made an open book test so challenging.
Right.
That it wasn't just like, okay, here's a bike type of thing. What part is this?
Which it would have been a lot easier for me. But no, there's a lot of stuff in there that I really dug, and I do dig, and I'm learning constantly and applying. That I apply in my own training and now helping folks over there at Fit Marriage. So it's cool stuff. And mm-hmm. I'm going to start start studying for, my group fitness instructor certificate. So that's my next one.
Very cool.
Yeah. I also signed up for the Spartan race.
So
if you want to check that out, that's SpartanRace.com. And it's a super Spartan. So it's an 8+ mile race with, I don't know, like 15 plus obstacles and fire jumping.
It's like an obstacle course on steroids. He shows me the picture, and people are covered in mud, and they're jumping off of stuff. And he's like, yeah, you guys can come watch me. And I'm thinking, there is nothing about this that it just doesn't even... I would be going to see him. I mean, there's
my supportive wife.
Yeah, that's all it would be, because I'm looking at this and it was funny.
Well, that's part of it. Sometimes you're just supportive. It doesn't mean you got to like it or enjoy it or do it.
Well, because I'm not. But I have to share with you that I was, Abby was over at a play date at one of our friends' house, and she had seen that you posted about the Spartan race.
Oh, what, today?
No, this was last week.
Oh.
And post up on Facebook, and so she's like, yeah, I saw Tony's doing that Spartan race. And she's like, yeah, I think I might have to check that out. Not the 8 mile what is it? The Super Spartan.
But that's the only one they have here.
Right. But
They have a shorter,
3
like a 3 mile,
a 3 mile
Spartan.
course. And so she's like, that would be fun. And I'm thinking.
And then they have the Death March, which is like, it's almost like an adventure race at that point. It's like 24 hours.
It's 24 hours. But if you're one of the top 3 finishers, I saw that you get an automatic qualification into the death race.
Well, I doubt I'm going to be in the top 3. I'm going to just be happy. I mean, this is out of my...
This is way out of the comfort zone.
Yeah, this is out of my comfort zone. It took me a little while to even pull the trigger on this.
This
and
is
so
not
for me, this is not on my bike or just working out in my garage and doing what I enjoy. This is just different. It's going to take some I don't know what it's going to take. I'll be motivated. I'm feeling it. I've taken a week off from...
That's February 26th?
Yeah. I've taken a week off from working out, did a lot of recovery, did some big long rides last couple of weekends. And starting up tomorrow or today while you're listening, I'll be starting my workouts and priming myself up. So
stay tuned for the episode on February 27th when he will have completed it or finished.
The thing we got to pray for is that this high ankle sprain goes away because it's bugging.
Okay, that would be bad. I wouldn't.
Yeah, it wouldn't be cool. So I got that, and then I'm going to do a double century at the end of March, right before we go on our trip to Puerto Rico.
Solving? You're doing solving again?
Yeah, my buddy Bob just posted something. He's setting it all up, so I don't have to do squat other than register and go.
Oh, hey.
So I'm cool with that. Where the last times I've done it, I'm over there having to do everything and coordinate it, and this one I'm not. I just told him, I'm like, hey, I need a ride and I need a room. Let me know where I got to go.
And Solvang's a double century that Tony has done.
A double
many
century
years.
for you guys is
200 miles
in one day.
In one day on a bicycle, all self-propelled. So for those of you that are rolling your eyes, going, "Why on earth would a human being want to do that?" I'm right there with you. But he does it. This is actually one of his most favorite double centuries.
It is, yeah.
And
I've done it 3 times.
Only 3 times?
It's the only one I've done 3 times.
Oh, okay.
I mean, I've done 9. I've done 9 last year. 2010, I didn't do any. So 2007, 8, and 9, I did 9 in 3 years.
That's called the Triple Crown each year.
Each year, 3 double.
So, yeah.
Well, how's your workouts going?
They're going really well.
And why are you doing these again? Why are you going after it?
Why am I? Because we're going to Puerto Rico.
You want to have a tight ass.
Yeah, I want to be bikini ready. On the
my
beaches.
wife is already sexy, but she's just toning it up and she's looking hot.
Why?
Gets me
that.
excited.
Okay.
A lot of physical, sexual intimacy, excitement going on for me.
It's been going really well. Yeah, this is heading into the 2nd week of the Transformation Challenge. They're on Fit Yummy Mummy. And, I have to say for me, it's just a mental, I'm realizing how much of fitness is a mental game. It's not so much your physical. It's your mental,
meaning getting up and doing it.
Well, making it,
motivating yourself,
making it a part of your life. In terms of, the workouts that I'm doing are 10 to 15 minutes, but I'm doing them 6 days a week. And so Monday through Friday is not a problem because either if Abby wakes me up early enough, I can do it before the kids are even really up and moving before school. If not, I just know that at 8:15, I'm leaving the school grounds. I'm coming home and that's my workout time. And I'm showered and dressed and ready to go by 9 with my day. Saturday was a little, I'm like, oh, the kids are home. I still have to do a workout.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and we're recording on Monday, so it's Martin Luther King Jr. Day, so the kids are home again. I'm like, okay.
I think Saturday worked out good though because you waited for me to get home from riding, and then I was able to at least corral the kids a little bit.
Right, because since we turned off our TV, or we turned off our cable, there's no Saturday morning cartoons for them to.
We did turn off cable.
We did that, but the workouts are going well, and I can honestly say that after 2 weeks, even though it's the completion of the first week of the challenge, I actually started doing the workouts a week before the challenge started. And, it's the little things. It's when you sit down, and ladies, you can understand this, there's that little bit of skin and or fat, depending on your body, right where you sit down. It's like right there on the side of your hips.
Do all women have this? No.
No, I'm just saying that if you do have it, you know what I'm talking about.
Gotcha.
And it's getting more toned and it's getting smaller. And it's just one of those little areas of your body where you're like, oh, and, it's healthy food choices. We've really eliminated so much junk in our house that our kids are now like, we leave nuts on the counter and they just go by and grab a handful of nuts. Or like Alex was hungry today and I'm trying to figure out, he's like in the refrigerator for a while, and then I see him, I hear a spoon and a bowl. I'm like, what the heck is this kid getting? He's getting himself a big old honking bowl of cottage cheese, and he's eating that. And even at dinner, they know that if they, like having a bagel to them now is kind of getting to be their treat, because they know they have to eat their dinner.
Although I had ice cream with them on Friday. I was like, whatever. Friday or Saturday.
But you know what? That's not a big deal.
Nah,
because they're getting so dialed into healthy eating that if they have a bowl of ice cream, okay. Alex was talking to us with a mouthful of broccoli tonight because he was still hungry. And I'm like, okay, you've had your fun treat, your bagel, fruits or vegetables. That's where you're at in the meal if you're still hungry. And so it's just really exciting to see them make great food choices. Granted, I've severely limited their food choices so they can only make good food choices, but they're not fighting us on it anymore.
Right.
Like they were when I first started changing things. And so that's exciting.
Yeah. And for all of you out there, this transformation that we've gone through is probably in about a 7-year process right now. It's probably been about 7 years. And a lot of it started when I got back into shape. And you know what? I wasn't sure how to eat and what I was eating. And because of cycling and a lot of I like to call them cycling myths of just you eat these high carbohydrate meals constantly and you're burning, you're riding and you're burning 4,000 calories. So just eat as much as you want. And, I've gone through a lot of transformations, but, one of the things during some of those times was I was the only one seeking that. And it was tough. Because Elisa would still be going like, well, who cares? I'll eat what I want. The kids will eat what they want. And I'm over here trying to go, okay, well, I'm trying to eat better. So there have been times, and I'd say more so than not, that Elisa and I were on different pages when it came to this and
Absolutely.
with nutrition. And so there is that struggle you have, especially for myself who was fit and trying to be fit and trying to do stuff, and she was there going, well, I'm still going to eat this, I'm going to do that, and I'm sorry to say Elisa did the shopping and still does the shopping, so
he was at my mercy.
I was, and many of you could have gone, well, geez, Tony, just go to the grocery store yourself. Sure thing. I could have, and you are 100% correct. Did I do it? No. I would buy supplements and I would do all this other stuff thinking I was getting stronger. And about, I'd say 3-4 years ago, I really started making a shift. I'd come off a really bad, just a low point in my cycling and working out career.
Well, because you went really extreme too.
Yeah, well, that was part of it. I mean, I was in the trenches every weekend, just going long and just depleting myself. And there were some tough times in there, and I had to take a step away from it all. But there are those times if you're out there and you're trying to eat healthier and your family is, you feel like they're up against you, you're not alone. The best thing to do is try to talk about it and continue to talk about it and keep doing what you're doing. I like to think that, just by being active and being physical over these years, that it's a little rubbed off on Elisa. Maybe not a lot, but some of it it's rubbed off. No. I mean, we do workouts together now. I mean, we do them not,
yes,
but it's
hard for me.
It's hard for Elisa. It's fun for me. I love it. She sort of goes, look forward for that video on Friday on the Fit Marriage Show, or not on fitmarriage.com, because we're going to video one tomorrow.
Woohoo. I'm excited.
So if Elisa's not like smiling and stuff, you can scream
now
at your
I have
screen.
to be, because
no, you don't
you've set it all up that now I have to be smiling.
I know.
But yeah, so it's been a process. And, when you have kids, and there are lots and lots of convenience foods out there for parents and families and for kids.
Running to go get pizzas, or
we've done it all.
Running to go get the crappy smoothie just to shut them up.
Now I've got a son who
running
home
to the
from
burger
the grocery
joint.
store. I take the kids to.
Are you talking over me?
Well, I thought you were adding commentary. I thought that was your color commentary there as I was talking. Because you do that sometimes. Sometimes you do just keep talking. Yeah. But I took the kids to the grocery store on Sunday, because what the other kind of aha moment in this whole transformation that we're doing with food and nutrition, and you guys know we've talked about this extensively over the last few weeks, is with our budget.
Budget.
So one of the things that I am trying to do is to plan out our week so that I only go to the grocery stores. I actually shop at 4 different stores because that's how I can best meet our family's needs. But I only do that on one day during the week. I hit all 4 stores on one day, and that's it for the week. So it takes a little bit of planning. But what I'm finding is, the kids are very involved in food choices because they're with me.
Mm-hmm.
And
you can steer them in the right direction if they're
right.
making a not so good choice.
I mean, Alex comes home from the grocery store this weekend and he's like, Dad, I found a cereal that has 13 grams of protein. And I'm thinking, okay, this is awesome. And I've got a little girl that just absolutely loves Rainbow Chard. She thinks it's awesome.
Although she scooped up that polenta tonight. She was just chomping on it. That was good too.
It was good. But the Rainbow Chard she likes because when I have the stalks that are kind of that reddish pinkish color, she thinks it's cool that she has a vegetable that has pink in it. And I was telling this to one of her friend's moms, and she just looks at me like, you have a daughter that knows what chard is? And for those of you that don't know, chard is a leafy green vegetable, kind of in the lettuce, kale family. Very good, quite tasty, and it's a heartier leaf. And I think that's part of the reason why she likes it, because it's actually there's some substance to it. But, we've been doing this, and, of course, here's a week, we've been doing this for 2 weeks now. And, I usually buy a couple pounds of nuts, and because the kids have been snacking, they're starting to snack on there, I'm looking at the week going, oh my gosh, I just bought a pound of almonds yesterday and they're almost gone. So there might have to be a subsequent trip this week because Tony can't live without his almonds.
Right, but one thing we're finding out, we've gone back to the envelope system
Mm-hmm.
that we learned years ago through Dave Ramsey, and we're learning that our envelopes actually have money in them. We've come to realize that Elisa was making shopping more of a sport, and she would just go and buy, and things were just getting spent. And I don't blame just Elisa, myself as well. The one thing we're doing, and I give a lot of credit to my wife here, is that every day she just sort of makes just a little comment or two. This is where we are with the money. This is what's happened with it. And it's not something I asked her to do. It's not something I'm requiring her to give me this information. She's just chosen to do that. Mm-hmm. And it's really awesome. And we actually even asked that this week on Facebook, for the question of the week, how often do you talk about money with your spouse? And obviously the answers are all over the board. And I will have to say, for us, for 2010, we were shoddy at best. I think we may have talked about it once, maybe twice a month. I mean, I know at the end of the month when I was asking how much we needed, that was one time, and maybe one other time when we were just maybe looking at a date night or something. But other than that, we really didn't go into it and ask, well, where's this money going or what's happening there? I will have to say in the 2 weeks that we've been doing it for 2011, it's much nicer. It's like, okay, I don't have to really think about it. We're back on that same page again. Mm-hmm. The only hard part for me, I'd say, is when I'm doing business stuff, or if I take somebody out for lunch or doing, what I mean, sort of like,
but that's coming out of your business.
Yeah, but I mean, is the business, the money that flows through business, the same as what's flowing through?
You know what? For me, that doesn't. I know you've got to do, if you're doing stuff with your business, that doesn't.
Right.
I guess I'm not looking for the feedback on that. Ron Mansky was the one who, I think I don't know if he put it up on the website or if he put it up on the Facebook page, who said that he and his wife it was on the website. Now that I think about it, he and his wife check in every day on this. And so it has become one of those things, I ran into a situation this weekend where I was shopping at Costco and they had a really good deal on something to buy in bulk, but the entire cost of that was not in my weekly grocery budget, but I do have a miscellaneous fund.
Right.
For the extra stuff that I pulled from, because I know I'm going to use this product. I know it's going to be a long-term savings.
Right.
For us. And so I just, when I came home that night, I was like, okay, here's what I did. Technically it's groceries, but when I buy in such a large quantity, it kind of moves into that miscellaneous. Mm-hmm. And, Tony's like, that's cool. And, thanks for letting me know. And that's how more of our conversations are going now. You know, on the 15th, I'm like, okay, here's where we are. Here's a category that I'm a little concerned about. Everything else, you know, I think we're good through the rest of the month. I kind of got my handle on all this stuff. You've got groceries for the week. And, you know, for those of you, I'm just, as Tony was talking about the Facebook question this week, just going through and look at the responses if you get a chance, and think about where you and your spouse are. And if you've been listening to us for the last 2 or 3 weeks, you know, just even where our journey's gone in the last month. And we used to be where we are today, cash basis, envelope system. You know, I'm logging every receipt, I'm doing whatever. And we got lazy. And my guess is those of you that have been on an envelope system, some of you may be just incredibly disciplined, and hats off to you that you just are able to hang in there. Me, I got lazy. And I'm probably not the only one.
No, I mean, I was there too.
So take a look at those comments. This might be an area heading into 2011 that you and your spouse just need to be like, okay, you know, let's read through these together. Where are we? Are we touching base, or are we like Tony and Lisa were last year, where it was like, okay, do we have money for date night, or are we eating home? You know, that was pretty much the extent of it.
Right.
So that's kind of where we are at the budget. And
good week for the dent, dude. That finally picked up. Praise God.
Yeah, you're having an awesome January.
I am. I'm having probably one of the best Januaries I've had in 3 years since the crash of 2007.
That's good to hear.
Yeah, that is good to hear. So that's nice. So I appreciate all the prayers from you guys out there. I mean, it's just been an awesome first couple of weeks there. Just a lot of good stuff going on. So that's always fun.
I'm getting ready to go away this weekend.
You're taking off again.
On the road again.
Yeah.
I won't make you all sit through a horrible rendition of me singing.
Yes, please don't.
Another Leah Sophia training in Orlando. So
yeah, it's a quick trip though. Thursday to Sunday.
You know, getting
so we need to get our groove on before you take off.
Yes, we need to get the groove on.
Gives you only 1 day for your
get my groove
3
on.
days.
Yes.
So I know which day it's happening. Must be Wednesday.
He is so quick.
Makes that easy.
Makes that
week.
easy, yes. Nice. We'll definitely have sex on Wednesday.
Beautiful.
So, yeah. But other than that,
it's been a good week.
It's been a good week. For those of you that are freezing anywhere outside of, I don't know, like the Southwest, we're sorry. We're having balmy spring weather here. And so we've been enjoying just being out. The kids have been riding bikes and walking around the neighborhood.
We're having like springtime weather in January.
So you're welcome to come visit
anytime.
But yeah, we feel for you, because I was talking to my parents yesterday. Yeah, yesterday, and I talk about how balmy it is here in San Diego. My parents are in Ohio, and Dad's like, it was balmy here too. It went from 16 to 30, and I just was, you know, silent. It was like deer in the headlights. Yeah.
I mean, it's so nice. We're back out in the garage.
Yeah,
which is cool,
and
I'm
we're
like,
not cold.
Yeah, I mean, we're just enjoying it. I actually like podcasting out here better than inside.
I feel like we don't have, even though the kids are asleep, I feel like we don't have little ears.
Yeah,
listening.
I agree.
You know,
I like it just out here. So we have some longtime listeners, Travis and Shauna. Want to give them a big congratulations to giving birth. Shauna specifically giving birth to their third child and a son. And it was in an interesting way. I would have to say.
We found out, yeah, because Tony had posted, you know, as we were talking about what was everybody doing
this weekend.
We got the comment from them. Let's see. Had an unplanned home birth, delivering our child alone. But other than that, not much. And Travis went on to say, I think the fact that our marriage has gotten stronger over the past year helped us remain calm and work together. And so that is...
that's cool.
That was very cool. And then Shanna replied later on in the comments, I saw this, and before I saw your comment, honey, I was going to say the same thing. It was an amazing weekend. Best family activity we've ever done. Love you. And so that was...
That's pretty amazing. They're the first couple I think I know that's ever done that. It's like, I don't... You know, that just doesn't happen.
Right. Babies don't come that fast. You usually have time to get to the hospital. But congratulations to them and the newest addition to their family. And thank you to the two of you for sharing that with us. That was a great way to learn something exciting about what's going on in the One Extraordinary Marriage community.
Yep.
So,
And if any of you want to call in and leave a voice message that we can listen to here on air or answer a question for you, you can call us at 858-876-5663. Or if you'd like, you can email me at ask Tony at oneextraordinarymarriage.com.
Or ask Elisa at oneextraordinarymarriage.com.
Yep. So let's go from there to the strain of change.
Mm-hmm. This is, I'm guessing that part of this is just knowing what some of our friends are going through right now. And, those of you that attend a church know that seasons of your life change. Churches are made up of people, so people change. And there may come times where you need to consider changing churches. Or maybe like us, 2001, almost 10 years ago, where you start thinking maybe we need to attend a church. Yeah. That was us back.
2000.
That was 2000.
October 2000.
That was 2000. That's right. We were up in Spokane in 2001. When Tony came off the trail in 2000, we'd both been raised Catholic, but had not attended church in a really, really, really long time. And had both kind of had some similar spiritual journeys while he was on the trail. And we'd moved into our condo in Rancho Santa Margarita. And of course, you move in, you get invitations. You always get an invitation for a church somewhere. And so we'd gotten this invitation to attend a Saddleback Church, which we drove by. There's at the 273, 170. I don't remember what the road was up there.
I don't know. And for many of you who don't know about Saddleback, it's led by Senior Pastor Rick Warren, who's written The Purpose-Driven Life, The Purpose-Driven Church.
He's did the inaugural prayer for President Obama.
Yeah.
He just recently did
an amazing group of people there. Really are.
It's much, much bigger than it was when we went.
We didn't know this when we were walking in there the first time. For Elisa and I, we just wanted to be obscure. Anonymous. We just didn't want anybody to really know who we were. We weren't sure we knew what we wanted to do. And so it was a large venue that we could just sort of roll in and roll out and sort of figure out church and, this thing that's called being a follower of Jesus Christ.
But even that initial decision to attend a service, it was kind of like, oh.
Yeah, even just bringing it up to each other to
right, because I think you brought it up first.
Well, I think I even brought it up when we were living in Costa Mesa, and we never did anything. Like, I came off the trail in September. Oh, wait, we must have gone later then.
Maybe it was beginning of 2001.
It must have been 2001. Yeah,
because we didn't move in until December of
2000. So, yeah. So it must have been like after I got off the trail, I remember mentioning it to you when we lived in Costa Mesa, going, hey, I had sort of the spiritual experience on the trail. We had discussed it a bit. You had yours. And I remember just sort of going, well, we should go look for a church. And that's where it ended. We never did anything.
Right, because it wasn't really an action.
Right,
yeah.
But that was also the time when we were going through some difficulties in our marriage and we almost got a divorce.
Right. Yeah, it wasn't really the time that I think we were like, okay, yeah, let's add one more thing onto our plate. Like, let's go find a church.
When it should have been.
Right. Well, in hindsight.
Right. But we just neglected to
We did.
go.
And, so then we're in this community where Saddleback is a very large presence. And Tony brings it up again. I'm like, yeah, they had a Saturday night service. So we're like, all right, well, that kind of works for us. We'll go on a Saturday night. And
Lisa and I love Saturday night services. There's something about us.
Yeah, it's just, it works.
It works for us.
I feel like we should say jinx or double jinx or whatever that thing is. And so we went, and it was very anonymous. I mean, at that point in time, they were probably getting 2,000 to 3,000 people on a Saturday night service.
Yeah, I think
I don't know. I felt like I was walking into Disneyland because they had the guys with the orange, cone director thingies like they do for the airplanes, directing traffic, and just all these people streaming into the sanctuary, and it was amazing.
Mm-hmm. Worship was good.
It was a good fit for us at that stage of our lives where we weren't sure what we were doing, we weren't sure where we were going spiritually, but we felt the need to be plugged in and connected. And so, but it was a way for us to do that with baby steps.
Mm-hmm.
I really feel like that church. And then
we went through their membership there.
we did.
I will have to say, once we were there, we got on the same page. I think there were a couple of times when I look back that we weren't. One was membership. We were on the same page, but then there was baptism, and that came around, and you wanted to do it, and I think that was one of those times where I was like, should I be doing this? What's this all mean? But we did it together.
We did it together. You actually helped baptize me. I have those pictures.
I do. Or I did. Yeah,
Yeah.
but I'm just saying for myself, I think you were ready more than I was. And I think as, the leader of, I would say, of our family, which was just you and I at the time, I felt like, well, I guess I should be doing this too.
Right.
But I still look back and go, wow, that was, even though I had no clue what I was doing really, I look back and just go, wow, that was awesome.
Mm-hmm.
They have like a really nice, just so for you guys that haven't been baptized, you got to get baptized in like a cool place. Like,
As opposed to all the uncool places to be
well,
baptized
like in a muddy lake, I don't find that to be cool.
Oh.
But
Some people may have had wonderful baptism experiences in a muddy lake right now, and you've just totally negated that for them.
okay, I'm sorry.
Your ideal place. Let's talk about
Okay,
you.
my ideal place. There we go. Elisa's mad at me over here about saying
It
that.
just kind of bothers me that,
Okay, for me,
Okay, there you go.
there we go. We got to be politically correct here a little bit.
No, I'm not saying politically correct. I'm just saying you have to be sensitive because, like we've heard people talk about their baptism experience. We've heard Pastor Harry talk about, baptizing people in, Indiana. There are no oceans.
Okay, my ideal place. Thank you
Okay.
very much.
Go.
Okay, Saddleback has a nice, awesome baptism tub deal, which is almost, it is a hot tub because the water is probably about 90-ish, 95-ish. Nice, cool fountain, waterfall deal coming down. Really awesome. We had some really good times there. Another one's the ocean for me. I've been to baptisms at the ocean. It just seems cool. Although you always see people getting like crashed by the waves and they're like, whoa, what just happened? And they're like all over the place and like the pastors are falling down too. Those ones are fun to watch. They're just fun to watch. But yes, you're right. My ideal.
Your ideal.
But all of you who have been baptized, I'm sure wherever it was, is special to you.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you. So that was Saddleback Mega Church, and it was not even the mega church that it is today, 10 years ago,
Right.
when we were there. And then, so that was the beginning of 2001. And then in the end of 2001, we moved up to Spokane, Washington. And we'd gone away for our anniversary, which was...
Well, hold on.
Oh,
First,
hold on.
because I was up there first for about
That's
a
true.
month or two.
Yeah.
And I had felt like, and I was living in an apartment with nothing in it. I was sleeping on the living room floor with like a pad in a sleeping bag.
Yes.
That year, 2000, September 11th happened.
11th
Elisa
happened.
was down here in Southern California. I was up in Washington. I mean, it's some weird stuff. I was working doing paintless dent repair up there. One of the guys I was working with was a Christian guy, invited me to his church, didn't feel comfortable there. Searched a couple other churches, didn't feel comfortable, and so I just stopped going until you showed up.
And then we went away for one of our anniversary was right after I came up. It was like the week after. And so we come back and we get our mail, and there was an invitation to attend a church. There you go. Another invitation. Churches, if you're sending out invitations, they do hit home. For a church, and we were reading it, and it sounded just like Saddleback. A lot of the wording was the same, and I remember we were reading it, and we're like, oh my gosh, this is like, I don't know, Saddleback in the Northwest. But it was a church that was just starting, and they did say, for our first service, church plant. And so we go, and there were probably, 20 people there?
Yeah.
15 to 20 people there?
And most of them knew each other because they had all come from another church.
Because the pastor, they'd all been, when Mike Bros, this was at Crossroads.
He was a youth pastor.
He was a youth pastor I'm trying to think, where is Washington State? What city? Pullman? No,
it wasn't Pullman. It was something else.
Colfax. So he'd been a youth pastor in Colfax. A lot of the kids from Colfax had moved up to Spokane. And so this was a lot of the beginning members of this church. And so these guys had all known each other for ages. And so we come in, the transplants from California, and start talking with them, and ended up becoming very good friends with Mike and his wife, Randa. And so we've gone now from a mega church to a church plant.
Yeah.
Where it's kind of like Cheers. Everybody knows your name, your business.
It felt right, though.
Everybody does everything together because you're all in this beginning part together.
Right.
And it was a really good, at that point in time, we were new to Spokane. We didn't know anybody. So it was a great way to have sort of instant friendships. And it was the right fit at the time. Fast forward a year and a half.
Well, and I even think while we were there, I was starting to go, this is getting, it was too small.
Oh, and I think part of it too was we were the demographics of the group.
Mm-hmm.
We were in our late 20s at the time.
Many of them were like in their early 20s. Right. We had just had Alex too. And
we had Alex up there. And so we were just moving into a different phase of life.
Yeah.
At that point in time. And I think had we stayed, we probably would have ended up leaving that church.
Yeah.
Because, I think one of the things that we learned there, you want to worship and you want to fellowship with people that are kind of in your same phase of life.
Mm-hmm.
It's important to have mentors, those that have done it ahead of you, and it's important to have mentees, those that are coming up behind you, but it's also really important to have people in your peer group.
Mm-hmm. And I give credit to all of you who are in church plants, and you're in there and you're doing it, because
that's not easy.
Yeah. It's been a while since we've been there, but I give you credit because there's a lot that's going on, and just keep at it. I mean, if Lord's called you to be there, go for it. I know for Elise and I, we came to the end of Spokane as a whole, and we were just sort of tired of the Northwest and cold, and
we were tired of the snow.
And we were just longing to be back in Southern California. Mm-hmm. So I think, the pull away from the church and everything wasn't just because the church wasn't working. It was just because we wanted to be out of there as well.
We were ready to come home.
We were, and so we then moved here to Poway, mm-hmm. On recommendation from the same friend who recommended us moving to Spokane.
Who subsequently no longer lives in Poway.
Yeah, I think he moved out like 6 months after we moved here, wasn't it? 6 months to a year. So
we love
I love you Kelly. And we ended up here in Poway, and we felt, okay, we need to look around again, find a church that will work for us. Mm-hmm. We felt that too big of a church, similar to a Saddleback, wasn't going to work. We liked the smallness, sort of that cohesiveness that was happening up in Spokane, but at the same time, we didn't want it that small. Mm-hmm. And we ended up checking out a couple of churches here in town. Some of them were just way off base, and I'm so glad, at least not way off base, but just way off,
very different and
than our way of
right.
of worshiping and the message.
They just weren't good fits.
Yeah, one of them in particular, I remember I just wanted to run out of there, and there was something about me that I just sat in my chair because I just wanted to be like, okay, I don't want to be rude and just get up and leave. But man, I look back and I think I should have. I mean, it was just like, wow. But I don't know if any of you have ever done that before, but I sure in the heck didn't feel right. I mean, and once it was over, I wanted to get out of there. Yeah, we were just
like, okay, let's go.
Let's go.
Let's get Alex and go.
And then darn it, they got your phone number and they're calling us. And I'm just like, you know what?
Whoa. You were not the one answering the phone.
Are you sure?
I'm positive.
I'm sure I answered the phone because I remember telling somebody that.
Okay, well, I think I took 2 or 3 phone calls.
Oh, okay, good.
Yeah, because we were naive. But I mean, it's a good thing we filled out the information card, but you fill out the information card at the beginning of the service your first time attending. You don't necessarily know what the service is going to be like, and then they already had your
information.
They already had your information.
Yeah.
So then we're back to the phone book, literally going through.
Yeah.
I had gone to the library, copied pages out of the phone book. I still remember
You
this.
did?
Yeah.
What, we didn't have internet at that time?
I don't think it had been set up yet.
Oh, okay.
Or I don't. For some reason, I remember
They
early
didn't
on.
have smartphones back then?
Oh, I know it was back in the dark ages. All of 2003.
It was. That was the dark ages.
Dark ages. Yeah, I don't think that the internet had been set up yet because I remember I would go to the library to do internet stuff.
And then, so where did we go next? Did we go to another one?
That's when we went to the.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so sorry, I had to. We're not saying any church names on air because we are still in this community.
Well, we say the one that we're at now.
Right.
Okay.
Right. So we went to another church, and larger than a church plant, but not mega church, and
Good family feel for us.
Yeah, I mean, it felt like the arms were open and we were welcomed in, and it was definitely a place to kind of get our feet on the ground, to really feel like, okay, you know what, we're establishing roots here in the community. We're involved. We were able to get involved in small groups.
Met some wonderful people.
Met some people that we are still friends with to this day.
I don't know if you say friends, but we're acquaintances. We see,
okay.
If we see them, we're friendly. Yeah.
Friendly. And we were there for.
Well, we were there
4 years.
Yeah, I mean,
I
Alex.
think
The loss of Andrew.
we went through loss of Andrew. Abby was dedicated there.
Abby was dedicated there. So yeah. So
4 years.
So 4 years.
4.5. And it got
Was it that long? How long have we been here?
I think it's going on 4 years. So it was probably been as long there as it was here.
Okay.
It was one of those things too where as Tony's cycling started to pick up, and I'm not, but this was definitely, I mean, you guys hear us talk about our Saturday night services a lot, and Tony is an early morning rider. It's the way his body works. He's not one of those guys that like in the middle of the day is like, honey, I'm going to go out for a 3-hour ride. That never happens. There are most weekend mornings that he is up and out of the house before the kids even roll over.
Yeah.
Because that's what he does. And he at that point in time, he was training for long rides. So there would be Sundays where the kids and I would go to church by ourselves.
And this was a time in my life when I was screwed up. I was upside down.
He was upside down.
I mean, totally, everything was just about me and my cycling.
Mm-hmm.
And after that, everybody else came, and that was just the way it rolled.
Yeah. And so it was one of those things where, I would get comments, when we go to church, where's Tony?
Because the church was probably about 300.
Right.
But dwindling at times.
Fluctuating, but around there.
And this was something for me as well, as it wasn't just the cycling, but we had been in some small groups. And one thing that Elisa talked about, the move from Spokane, that we probably would have made was being in a church which had more of our own peer group.
Right.
And so the church in Spokane didn't have that as much. We came down here, and the church here
had a handful.
As when we started was there, it grew, but then it started dwindling. So folks in our peer group were leaving, and and as I've grown over the years, I will say I have become less of a conservative when it comes to just sort of the way I view the church and what should be happening in it, and this approach that, gosh, I just used to think everybody was perfect in there, and I've just learned over the years that we're not. And to tell our stories and to be real and to take off our masks is truly where the church will grow. Mm-hmm. Because that's when everybody gets to see your true self, and those who are not Christian also get to see that you are not perfect.
Right. So
I was starting to have problems because everybody there wanted to be perfect and try to always look perfect, but you knew, and I knew, as all of us know, we're not perfect. Mm-hmm. So there was this big facade that was constantly being played. And so as at men's retreats or at these functions or it just didn't feel real. It just felt very, what's the word I'm looking for? Very contrived. And there are a number of conversations I had with guys about my pornography, the use of alcohol, the use of drugs, that honestly alienated me. I mean, I had folks go, man, I'll make sure not to have my kids talk to you as they grow up, sort of comments. And to me, this is my life. This is who I am. I am now cleansed of my sins because of my dedication to Jesus Christ. And I use what Jesus has given me, this life that he's given me, the good and the bad, to hopefully impact someone's life.
Mm-hmm.
So if in this lifetime I only can impact one person, and that one person goes, you know what? Because I talked to Tony, I became a follower of Jesus, and I've dedicated my life, then it's all good. But if I'm in a place where I feel like I cannot say those things, then I felt squelched and just really disgruntled.
Yeah. Yeah. And it started to become a bigger issue between the two of us.
Well, because I would just, then I began to just use cycling as my scapegoat.
Right. You would just cycle every Sunday.
I'd just be like, well, you know what?
I'm riding.
I'm just riding. I'm going to ride long. Yeah, I could be back for the 10:30 service, or, do my long ride Saturday and do a short ride Sunday. And I just was like, forget it. I'll just ride long. It was just my way of not going.
And for me, it was one of those things where I'd gotten involved in a women's small group. And so I was feeling connected there.
Mm-hmm.
And, after a couple months of this, Tony broached the subject of us trying another church. And I was just, I dug my heels in. I'm like, there is no way. I've got friends here. This is where I'm plugged in, basically figure it out.
Right.
But we're not moving churches. And he's like, no, I really want to try a different church. And so I will never forget this.
This is a couple months after I even made that.
Right. So,
I made that comment, and then it took another 2 or 3 months before I could even get her to act, because it was just like, no, I'm not doing it.
So we get up on Sunday morning and we decide we're going to try another church. And Alex is old enough at the time to know how we drive to church. And so we drove past where we normally would turn to go to church. And he's like, where are we going? And we tell him that we're going to go just check out a new church. And he flew into hysterics.
Yeah, we're driving.
We're
about into the driveway at this point.
Hyperventilating, screaming, just completely enraged, because this is the only church that he had ever known.
Right.
He had been the prince of the nursery.
Right.
Everybody knew Alex. He was loved, and there was a very real sense of, this is going to change my world for him. And so, of course, that as a mama bear, I'm like, oh, we can't do this. And so we get there.
And as a dad, I'm driving, and I don't know if any of you have ever experienced this, but you just want to flip out, because the screaming and the crying and my blood is just rising, and I'm like sweating, and I'm just, oh my gosh, I was just so mad, because I felt like, oh, okay, I finally am going to be able to go somewhere different and maybe possibly find a place for myself. And I wasn't thinking about my family at that point. I was just thinking about me. And oh my gosh, Alex was just out of control. Yeah. We drove in one drive, and
we stopped the car, and I looked at you and said, are we really going to take him inside? Like, are we really going to take this screaming, crazy child who was just so upset? Are we going to try and do this?
Mm-hmm.
And you're like, I guess not. Turn the car back on.
We drove off.
And
we went home.
We went home.
We didn't even go to church that day.
No, because we'd missed the other. It just, timing wise, we'd missed the other service. But the seed was planted in my mind that if Tony wasn't happy in the church that we were at, then something vital was going to be going on in our marriage. There was going to be a disconnect.
Mm-hmm. As there already was one happening.
Well, there was, but I think seeing that whole thing play out between you and Alex, and the screaming and the stress, and the fact that even though he was so worked up, you just kept driving to that church. You're like, I'm going to that church. I'm going to check out another church. it really got me to thinking that if he's not going to church with me, what is this doing? How is this going to play out in our marriage? Am I going to just be taking my children to church because their dad goes on a bike ride every Sunday morning? Is that going to work out for us? And, so I started doing some research on some of the other churches in the area. And for us, we talked about it. We're like, what are we looking for? And we were looking for a church that did have those Saturday night services, because that was a big deal to us, because that meant that we could go to church as a family. It would, Tony could ride, do his ministry that he does on his bike, but he could also go to church with us as a family. We wanted a church that had a really strong youth program. I mean, we were looking at the fact that, okay, we feel that church is important. Mm-hmm. We want a church that's got a strong program for our kids. And we needed something with a little bit more size.
Yeah.
Because we wanted to have the opportunity to do different things, to be encouraged to do different things.
And one that wasn't so conservative.
And so another couple months go by, because those of you that have thought about going to different churches, those of you that have attempted, that it is a process. You very rarely just go to a church and be like, woo, that fits perfectly, let's do it. Because you might hear something in the sermon that doesn't resonate with you. You might hear, somebody might not be super friendly. One of the greeters is having a bad day and they're not, whatever. And you have to try it a few times. You have to listen to the worship a few times. Does this resonate with you?
Mm-hmm. And I remember some of the conversations we had, afterwards, and just sort of that change happening. You're just sort of like, yeah, this is good. This is good. And I'm sitting there going, yeah, this is right on. This is what I need. Yes. And praise Jesus.
And it was hard for me because I really felt plugged in with that woman's small group.
I know.
And, but I told them one night, I said, I just need to let you guys know that we've decided to do something different. We're going to be trying out a new church. And interestingly enough, I did hear from a couple of them, wow. There was almost this respect that you would actually go out and try something new, that maybe if it wasn't fitting, you were going to try and fix that, come up with another solution, because they started to share their issues. Well, I'm not real happy with this, or I'm not, but there was always a problem followed with a but. Mm-hmm. And so it was one of those things where it was kind of on a trial, but okay, let's see if this works. And interestingly enough, those women that I was so close with, or thought I was, really, those friendships didn't last. And that was a painful thing for me too. Mm-hmm. In dealing with that, because I was like, oh, I'm so close to these women, and yet, I occasionally see them around town, but it wasn't, it's not much more than kind of your courtesy. Hey, how are you? How are the kids? What's new? And so growing pains, things, this was an area that really put some strain on our marriage, because when Tony wanted to change churches and I didn't, that was not good. When Tony wasn't going to church and I was, that was not good. Mm-hmm. And we know Tony had put up,
and the one thing I do want to say, though, is as we got to where we are now, and we're at the church at Rancho Bernardo, and you guys have heard us mention that, it worked. And even though there are some hard times getting to that point, I truly believe for both of us now, Lisa and I both could sit here and go, it's the best thing we've done. It was tough getting to where we are now. I mean, we've told you but we told you our life in the churches, mm-hmm. and the ones we've gone to. And this is the one for us. We feel it. We've seen people come and go, mm-hmm. but for us, this is it. I mean, we've led small groups. We've taken a step away. We've been a part of different function or ministries at the mm-hmm. church, and we've taken steps away. For us, it works. But what I want to say, and the reason we did this podcast tonight, is because the strain of change can happen if you're changing churches or anything else in your life. You got to understand that it's a process sometimes, and that, you know, as you're going through it, yes, it doesn't always look rosy and good, but hopefully through prayer and conversation and just discussion with your spouse, that the change turns out to be what you always wanted.
Well, and you know, very much the reality for us is that we would not be doing this podcast if we hadn't changed churches.
Right. Because I needed to be somewhere where I could be let go and let me just be the child of God that I am.
Mm-hmm.
And what you hear is what you get with me. And I'll talk to my pastors about the stuff that I've gone through and talk to them frankly. And if there's something I disagree with, I can email them and discuss it with them.
Mm-hmm.
I've told you that I will sit down with one of our marriage pastors, Ken, and we'll talk. And even though we may disagree on stuff, or we may have some slight differences, it's still good. I mean, but that's us.
Right.
And wherever you are, I mean, I hope that both of you are there and you're both on the same page.
And if you're not, this is one of those areas that, you know, is vital.
Mm-hmm.
You know, this is not one of those areas where you need, you know, I would say, you know, just be quiet and, you know, let the stronger personality make the decision. Your faith and that foundation in your marriage, you need to be on the same page as far as that goes. It needs to be working in your relationship. And if it's not, if you're not going to, you know, I'm looking at the comments here. You know, there's Mary who says that she and her husband are different denominations, so that we go to two churches. It sounds like that is working for them. But if you're in a situation where it's not working, where maybe you're not attending church with your spouse, or, you know, like Tony's just doing long bike rides. Like, I'm riding my bike. You know,
spiritual intimacy doesn't always have to happen in the church, obviously. And I think
exactly.
In Mary's case and her husband, I'm sure it sounds like it works for them, because I'm sure what they're able to do is then still be able to talk about
right.
the spirituality and bring that intimacy back home.
Mm-hmm.
It's when you're in two separate churches and you're not talking about each other.
In the same church.
Not in the same church. And the spiritual intimacy, there's a friction going on because you're not attending my church and I'm not attending your church.
Or if only one of you is attending church. I mean, you know, we hear this many times. You know, in fact, there's a small group that's starting at our church with women whose husbands aren't attending church with them. And, you know, those are situations where, you know, prayer, obviously, prayer and encouragement. And, you know, it's one of those things where having that foundation permeates all aspects of your marriage, you know, and it's hard when you're not on the same page. We've been through that in different spots in our marriage. And, you know, I will definitely say it's much nicer when you are on the same page and when you both are excited about it. You know, if you are attending church together, you're both excited about attending that church together. But, you know, as I'm looking through these comments too, you know, it's important that there's a balance. You know, David here says that, you know, he said he was a youth pastor at a church he should have resigned from. I wanted to push on and my wife was burnt. We moved from there to another church where I was the youth pastor. It didn't get any better. I spent the first 4 years of my marriage going to church with people other than my spouse. She was there, but I had responsibility. She felt very alone and I didn't understand because I was serving God. I finally burned out and we got it right. We love going to service together now. It has been 8 years since then and the wounds still ache from time to time. It is so critical that you guys find the common ground that works for both of you, not just a common ground because you don't want to deal with conflict. This dynamic will be different for every single couple listening to this podcast. And I'm not going to tell you that you both have to go to church together, or, you know, if you go to different churches that you have to, you know, come back after your services and have whatever works in your marriage. But make sure you've got the foundation to be able to have those discussions, to be able to say, you know what, if it isn't working, we need to talk about this.
Mm-hmm.
Because there was a time when we didn't have that kind of foundation. And it led to a lot of stress and strain in our marriage. And change was very hard. Alex's screaming fit on the way to church that first time very much echoed. He was just manifesting in his little body what I wanted to be doing because I didn't want to go either.
Mm-hmm.
But it's been such a blessing to us. And change often results in enormous unforeseen blessings. You just have to kind of go through the trial of it to get there.
Right.
And that's not always easy. What's that?
Tim's.
Oh, Tim at the top. He was saying they've gone through, hold on, let me get up here. They've gone through change before. He said we only left when we both fully agreed.
Mm-hmm.
We've only done that one time in 20 years. The other time we left a church was a move across the country. And that's an important thing too, you know, where he brings up that they fully agreed.
Well, that means that there was conversation happening,
Right.
which is key. And you know what? I didn't do it well. In all honesty, mine was we need a change, and there wasn't much discussion about it. It was just I'm not feeling, you know, as an emotional part of me, and it was just like I'm not feeling this place. I don't seek it. I don't find it fun or exciting, and you know there wasn't conversation. So what Tim brings up is very key.
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah. So if you're not, if this is an area in your marriage that needs some work, take some time this week to sit down and talk about how the spiritual intimacy is going in your marriage. Is it there? Is it not there? If it's not there, what do you both desire? You know, use this week to start laying the groundwork for that foundation. If things are going well, celebrate that fact.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You know, embrace and enjoy the fact that you guys are in a good place, whether it's, you know, you're going to church together or you found a way to make the spiritual intimacy work in your marriage. But don't be surprised when I tell you that change always comes, and you might not know when it's going to come, but it will. And be willing to walk through those conversations and talk through those needs on both sides.
Yeah. I agree with you. And so to that end, you guys, love you guys.
Thanks for listening to the One Extraordinary Marriage podcast. We would love to hear from you. You can go ahead and give us a call at area code 858-876-5663 or send us an email to info@oneextraordinarymarriage.com. The website is oneextraordinarymarriage.com, and while you're there, you can sign up for our Marriage Minute Monday newsletter, and you can also purchase Tony and Elisa's new book, Stripped Down. It's available now in print, audio, and ebook formats. Also, the One Extraordinary Marriage podcast has sponsorship opportunities available now. If your business is interested in sponsoring this podcast, please contact us at oneextraordinarymarriage.com.